Have you ever had a conversation and later wondered, why did I say it like that? Or maybe a family member has made a comment about a habit you didn't even know you had. It's a funny thing about getting older. We're so focused on the big things, our health, our finances, our family, that we often miss the small, subtle shifts in our own behavior. These aren't the big, dramatic changes, but quiet little habits that sneak into our daily lives, often without us even realizing it. And the truth is, 99% of seniors don't realize these habits are taking root, but they can slowly chip away at our dignity, our health, and even our most cherished relationships. The good news is that once you see these behaviors for what they are, you have all the power to change them. That's what we're going to do together today. We're going to gently uncover 10 of these common patterns. This isn't about criticism or making anyone feel bad. It's about awareness. It's about giving you the choice to age with even more grace, strength, and connection. So, let's start with one of the first and most common behaviors that often slips into daily life. It's a subtle decline in personal hygiene. Now, this isn't just about vanity or appearance. This is about health, confidence, and the silent signals we send to the people around us. You might find yourself thinking, do I really need to shower today? I didn't do much. Or maybe a full dental routine starts to feel like a chore. It happens so gradually. Think about two women we might know, Linda and Patricia, both in their late 70s. Linda makes a point to shower regularly, brush her hair, and keep up with her dental visits. She feels good about herself, and that energy radiates outwards. People notice her vitality. Patricia, however, began skipping showers here and there, wearing the same comfortable clothes for a few days in a row, and dismissing that quick floss before bed. She doesn't mean anything by it. It just feels like less of a priority. But over time, her family notices the change. They might hesitate before giving a hug, or they might speak a little more slowly around her, unconsciously treating her as if she's more frail than she is. This decline rarely happens because we stop caring. It's often because our energy levels aren't what they used to be, or maybe getting in and out of the tub feels a little risky, or even our sense of smell isn't as sharp, so we don't notice what others might. But the impact is real. It can affect our skin health, risk of infection, and most importantly, how we feel about ourselves. The wonderful thing is, this is so easy to course correct. It's not about a major overhaul. It's about setting a simple, manageable routine. Maybe a shower at a specific time of day when you have the most energy, laying out your clean clothes the night before, or asking a family member for a handy grab bar in the shower to feel more secure. These tiny steps make a world of difference, helping you hold on to that feeling of being fresh, capable, and independent. Now, let's talk about a behavior that affects our conversations, something we might not even hear ourselves doing. It's the tendency to interrupt or gently dominate a conversation. Many of us do this without a single ill intention. In fact, it often comes from a place of enthusiasm. As we get older, sometimes our processing speed changes a little bit. We have a thought, a story, a connection to what someone is saying, and we're so excited to share it that we jump in, worried the thought might slip away before the other person finishes their sentence. Consider two men, Charles and Edward, both in their early 80s. Charles has cultivated the habit of listening with patience. He waits, he truly hears what the other person is saying, and then he responds thoughtfully. People leave conversations with him feeling heard, valued, and respected. Edward, on the other hand, often cuts in when his children or friends are speaking. He finishes their thoughts for them or steers the story back to a similar experience he had 50 years ago. He doesn't mean to be rude at all. He's just engaged in trying to connect. But over time, a funny thing happens. Those around him start to share less. They begin to feel that their words aren't truly being heard, that the conversation is a one-way street. This can slowly, quietly erode the very connections we value most. The great news is that this too is a habit we can gently adjust. It starts with awareness.
The next time you're in a conversation, try taking a soft, deep breath before you respond. Try to count to 3 in your head after the person finishes their sentence. This little pause makes the other person feel listened to, and it gives you a moment to collect your wonderful thought so you can share it even more clearly. It's not about talking less. It's about making your words count more and ensuring the people you love feel just as valued as you make them feel. This leads us to another behavior that often grows stronger without us noticing: the habit of excessive complaining. Now, let's be clear, we have every right to voice our frustrations. Life after 60 comes with its unique set of challenges, aches, pains, and things that just don't work the way they used to. Talking about them is natural and healthy, but there's a difference between sharing a struggle and living in a constant state of complaint. It's like we get into a rhythm of negativity without really realizing it. We talk about the weather, the news, our back, our knees, the price of groceries, and it can become the soundtrack of our day. Researchers have found that this constant complaining doesn't just bring down the mood of everyone around us. It actually rewires our own brains to focus on the negative, making problems feel even bigger than they are. Take 2 friends, Helen and Dorothy. Helen has her share of health issues, but she makes a conscious effort to keep her conversations balanced. She'll talk about her pain, but then she'll quickly shift to the joy she got from her blooming roses or a phone call from her granddaughter. People enjoy her company because they leave feeling lighter. Dorothy, however, turns nearly every conversation into a list of everything that's wrong: her back pain, her doctor's wait times, her disappointment in the world. And after a while, friends might hesitate to call. Family might keep visits a bit shorter. Not because they don't love her, but because her constant negativity is emotionally draining. This habit often sneaks in because we are genuinely dealing with more discomfort. But when it overshadows everything else, it can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, pushing people away and leading to more loneliness, which in turn leads to more to complain about. Breaking this cycle is one of the most powerful things we can do for our happiness. It begins by catching ourselves. The next time you state a complaint, try to follow it up with one thing you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be big. My knee is aching today, but I'm so grateful for the sunshine warming the room. This simple act shifts the pattern, not just for your listeners, but for your own mind. It reminds you that even on hard days, there are still points of light. And that's a perfect place to pause our conversation for a moment. We've started this important journey by looking at 3 habits we can gently adjust: our personal care, our listening skills, and our focus on gratitude. But there's more to explore. In a moment, we'll continue and talk about a behavior that can quietly shrink our world if we let it: resisting change. If this is resonating with you, if you've seen a little of yourself in any of this, please let me know in the comments below. Your stories and experiences are so valuable. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss what comes next. Thank you for watching, and remember, this isn't about judgment, it's about empowerment. Stay blessed.
It's interesting, isn't it? How our minds can sometimes hold us back without us even realizing it. We get comfortable in our ways, and that comfort can become a very subtle cage. This brings us to our 4th behavior, one that can quietly shrink our world if we're not careful: resisting change. So many of us as we get older develop a real aversion to anything new. It could be a new technology, a new route to the store, a new food, or even a new way of doing an old task. We jig our heels in and say, "No thank you, I like things just the way they are." And that's perfectly understandable. After a lifetime of experience, we've earned the right to our preferences. But when this resistance becomes our automatic response to everything, we risk missing out on so much that could enrich our lives and keep us connected. Think about 2 men, George and Harold. George is in his early 70s, and he makes a conscious effort to stay open-minded. His grandson showed him how to use video calling on a smartphone, and while it was awkward at first, he gave it a try. Now he has a weekly video chat with his great-granddaughter who lives across the country, and it brings him incredible joy. He doesn't love every change, but he's willing to adapt, and it keeps him engaged with the flow of life.
Harold, on the other hand, has put up walls. He refuses to try online banking, even though it would save him a trip to the branch. He dismisses his doctor's suggestions about new, less invasive treatments for his arthritis. He's even stopped going to his usual cafe because they renovated and changed the menu. His world is getting smaller and smaller, and he feels more disconnected and frustrated, not less. This behavior isn't about being stubborn, it's often about fear. Fear of looking foolish, fear of making a mistake, or fear of losing the familiar comforts that make us feel safe. But the beautiful truth is that our brains are capable of learning at any age. Neuroscience shows that trying new things actually creates new neural pathways, keeping our minds sharp. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be as simple as trying a new herb on your dinner, asking a young family member to show you one feature on a device, or saying yes to a friend's invitation to a new community center. Each small yes is a victory. It's a declaration that you are still curious, still engaged, and still very much a part of this ever-changing world. Now, this resistance to change often goes hand in hand with our fifth behavior, losing patience. Have you noticed yourself getting irritated more quickly than you used to? Maybe the line at the supermarket feels unbearably slow, or the remote control seems unnecessarily complicated, or a well-meaning family member explaining something for the second time makes you want to snap. This shortening of our fuse is one of the most common yet surprising changes that can come with age. We might have been the picture of patience all our lives, but now small frustrations can feel overwhelmingly large. Consider Ruth and Alice. Ruth has felt this shift herself. She notices the impatience rising in her chest when things don't go smoothly, but she's learned to manage it. She takes a deep breath, she reminds herself that the world is not conspiring against her, and she chooses to let the small stuff go. Her calm presence is a gift to everyone around her. Alice, however, has let that impatience take the wheel. She snaps at waitstaff, she scolds her grandchildren for being too loud, and she huffs in frustration at the television. She doesn't mean to be unkind. In fact, she often feels terrible about it afterwards. But in the moment, the feeling is just so powerful. This often isn't just a personality change, it can be a signal. It can be a sign of underlying pain, fatigue, or the mental exhaustion that can come from trying to keep up in a world that feels like it's speeding up while we're slowing down. The danger is that this impatience pushes people away, creating the very isolation we fear. The good news is that patience is a muscle, and we can strengthen it again. It starts with recognizing the physical signs, that tightness in your chest, that clenching in your jaw. When you feel it, that's your cue to pause. Take one deep, slow breath. Give yourself a moment. Often, that's all it takes to stop a harsh word from leaving your mouth. Be kind to yourself, too. If you're tired, rest. If you're in pain, address it. And give yourself permission to not be perfect. Lowering your expectations of how things should go can dramatically raise your tolerance for how they actually do. This brings us to a behavior that is very close to many of our hearts because it involves our stories and our history. It's the tendency to live in the past. Our memories are a treasure trove. They are the foundation of who we are. Sharing stories from our youth is a wonderful, vital way to connect with younger generations and to find meaning in our long lives. But there's a subtle line between sharing our history and getting stuck in it. When our conversations become only about the good old days, when we constantly compare the present unfavorably to the past, and when we show no curiosity about the world as it is today, we risk disconnecting from the people right in front of us. Imagine Samuel and Leonard. Samuel loves to tell a good story. His tales of his first car or his early career are fascinating. But he also makes a point to ask his grandson about his video games. He listens to his daughter's work challenges, and he discusses current events. His conversations are a beautiful bridge between then and now. Leonard, on the other hand, only lives in the past. He tells the same stories about his military service every time someone visits. He dismisses modern music, modern values, and modern problems. While his family loves him and his history, They've started to mentally check out during visits because they feel he's not present with them. He's only present with his memories. This can be one of the loneliest behaviors because it unintentionally tells people, your world doesn't matter to me. The key, as with so many things, is balance. Your stories are priceless. They are your legacy, but they become even more powerful when you use them as a foundation to engage with the present. Ask a young person to explain their world to you. You might be surprised by what you learn and the new connections you can make between your experiences and theirs. It keeps you relevant, it keeps you interesting, and most importantly, it keeps you connected. We've covered so much ground together already, from our personal care to our conversations, from our mindset to our memories. But there are a few more crucial habits to gently uncover. In a moment, we'll continue and look at the subtle ways our own body language can shape how others see us and how we see ourselves. If any of this is ringing true for you, please let me know in the comments below. Sharing our experiences is how we learn and grow together. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so we can continue this important conversation. Thank you for your time and your openness. Stay blessed.
And so we arrive at some of the most subtle, yet profoundly impactful behaviors. These are the ones that don't just affect how others see us, but how we see ourselves, and even the very structure of our daily lives. Let's talk about the seventh behavior on our list, neglecting our posture and body language. This is something we so often overlook because it happens so gradually. We might start leaning forward a bit more to hear better, or we shuffle our feet because we're feeling a little less steady. We might sit with our arms crossed, or we stop making direct eye contact because we're lost in our own thoughts. But here's the thing we rarely consider. Our body language doesn't just communicate to the world, it communicates to our own brain. Studies have shown that standing tall, with your shoulders back and your head held high, actually sends signals of confidence and capability to your mind. Conversely, when we slump and shuffle, we signal to ourselves that we are tired, withdrawn, or frail. Think of Carol and Janet. Carol, in her early 80s, is mindful of this. She does light stretches every morning against the wall to align her back. She makes a conscious effort to walk with purpose, head up, eyes forward. People see her as steady and capable, and they interact with her accordingly, with respect and warmth. But Janet, however, has let the habit take over. She looks at the ground when she walks, her shoulders are rounded, and she often holds her arms close to her body. She doesn't mean to appear closed off, but that's the message she's sending. Without realizing it, she's teaching the world to treat her as fragile. Family members might instinctively grab her elbow to help her walk, even when she doesn't need it, which can slowly chip away at her sense of independence. The wonderful news is that we can reclaim this. It starts with awareness. Check in with your body right now. Are you slouching? Gently pull your shoulders back. Imagine a string pulling the crown of your head toward the ceiling. Take a walk around your living room, but this time, focus on rolling your foot from heel to toe. These tiny adjustments are powerful. They tell your body and your brain, I am still strong, I am still here. It's not about vanity, it's about owning your space in the world with quiet confidence. This quiet confidence extends to how we manage our affairs, which leads us to our eighth behavior, financial stubbornness. Now, this is a sensitive one because our relationship with money is deeply tied to our sense of security, independence, and even our identity. After a lifetime of hard work, of careful saving and smart decisions, it's only natural to feel that our way is the right way. The problem arises when this pride turns into rigidity, when we refuse to adapt our financial habits to a changing world, even when it's in our best interest. We might dismiss a family member's concern about a risky investment we've always had, or refuse to set up automatic bill pay because I've always written checks.
or even give away money to relatives impulsively, jeopardizing our own long-term healthcare needs. Consider Henry and Albert. Henry maintains control of his finances, but he's also open. He has a monthly chat with his daughter about his budget. He's willing to listen to his financial advisor's suggestions about safer, modern investment options, and he plans for future healthcare costs. He's in charge, but he's also adaptable. Albert, however, is stuck. He handles his money exactly as he did in 1985. He refuses to believe that his fixed income might not keep up with inflation. He dismisses his son's advice about consolidating accounts for simplicity, and he sees any suggestion of change as a threat to his autonomy. But true independence isn't about clinging to the past, it's about making wise choices for the future. Financial stubbornness can create immense stress and family conflict, often leaving our loved ones feeling worried and helpless. The most powerful step we can take is to open up a dialogue. Choose one trusted family member or a professional fiduciary and simply have a conversation. You don't have to hand over the reins, just listen. Being open to a new perspective isn't a sign of weakness. It's the ultimate sign of strength and wisdom, ensuring your security and your peace of mind for all the years to come. This fear of losing control often feeds into the ninth and perhaps most damaging behavior, the slow, gradual withdrawal from social connections. This one creeps up on us. It starts with declining an invitation because we're a little tired. Then we skip a phone call because we don't have much to say. Then we tell ourselves that everyone is so busy, they probably don't want to be bothered. Before we know it, weeks have gone by without a meaningful conversation, and the silence in our home becomes a constant companion. We convince ourselves we prefer the quiet, but what we're often feeling is loneliness. And we cannot underestimate the power of this. Medical research has consistently shown that chronic loneliness is as damaging to our health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's linked to higher risks of depression, heart disease, cognitive decline, and a weakened immune system. Our connections are not a luxury, they are a biological necessity. Think of Elaine and Marjorie. Elaine makes an effort. She feels tired sometimes too, but she knows that after a phone call with her friend or a family dinner, she always feels more energized, not less. She fights the urge to isolate because she knows the payoff is joy. Marjorie, however, has stopped fighting that urge. She said no so many times that the invitations have slowly trickled away. She tells herself she's fine, but her world has become very small, and her mood and energy have faded with it. Reconnecting can feel daunting, but it doesn't require a big party. It starts with a tiny gesture, a 5-minute phone call just to say hello, a text message with a funny meme to a grandchild, accepting one invitation, even if you only stay for 30 minutes. Each small yes is a lifeline you throw back to the world, and the world will always grab on. Your friends and family want to hear from you. You are not a burden. You are a priority. This brings us to our 10th and final behavior, one that is the silent thread connecting all the others, the slow, gradual erosion of curiosity. This is the habit of no longer asking why or how or what if. It's accepting that we've learned all we need to learn and that the world no longer holds any surprises for us. It's the end of wonder. And when we lose our curiosity, we stop growing. We stop seeking out new experiences, new ideas, and new people. Our world becomes a closed loop, and that is where stagnation begins. The antidote is beautifully simple. Cultivate a beginner's mind. Let yourself be fascinated by something small. Watch a documentary about a place you've never been. Ask a young person to explain a trend you don't understand and really listen to the answer. Go to a library and pick up a book on a topic you know nothing about. Curiosity is a spark. It is the very opposite of feeling old. It is the feeling of being fully, vibrantly alive right now at this moment, no matter your age. And there they are, 10 behaviors that can quietly sneak into our lives. From neglecting our hygiene and interrupting others, to complaining, resisting change, and losing our patience. From living in the past, neglecting our posture, becoming financially rigid, and withdrawing from our loved ones, to finally letting our curiosity fade. But remember, this list was never meant to make you feel guilty or to criticize. It was meant to empower you, to give you the gift of awareness, because awareness is the first and most important step toward change. You don't have to tackle everything at once. Just pick one small thing that resonated with you today. Maybe it's taking that extra moment to really listen without interrupting. Maybe it's standing up a little straighter when you walk to the mailbox. Maybe it's picking up the phone and making that call you've been putting off. Each small positive choice you make is a vote for the person you want to be, for a future filled with more connection, more grace, more strength, and more joy. You have all the wisdom and all the power you need to make your later years the most fulfilling ones yet. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I would truly love to hear from you. Which of these 10 points resonated the most with you? Share just one thought in the comments below. Your experiences are so valuable and help everyone in our community. If this video brought you value, please pay it forward by liking it, sharing it with a friend who might need to hear this, and subscribing to the channel for more conversations like this. Thank you for your wonderful presence. Stay blessed, and remember, it's never too late to learn, to grow, and to choose a different path. Here's to living your best life.